Hey guys, it is Carl Brown for guitarlessons365.com. Got a new one today. We'll learn how to do Bad Penny by Rory Gallagher. I've never done a Rory Gallagher song, and time to time I get some requests for his music, to cover his music here on the channel. I'm glad I finally get a chance to get around to doing it. So I hope you guys enjoy this. And if you guys are blues rock fans, which you probably are if you're watching this lesson, I have a new blues rock boot camp. It's a live course that I'm putting on. Weekly course is gonna go across 8 weeks, and it's just for my Academy members. So if you see a link in the description below for my Academy, click on that, and just being an Academy member, you get full access to the entire boot camp. So it's a live course, so I'll be presenting a new class basically every Sunday morning, my time here in LA, and I'll be covering. The great thing about a live course is not only is it kind of a systematic learning process, but you get to ask questions in real time. So it's just not like watching a normal course online. You can really interact with me and ask me questions as I go through the material. And we'll be doing that for 8 straight weeks. It's gonna give you a good rundown on the history of blues rock and the techniques used by the greatest artists in that style. So hopefully you'll check it out. And you get full access. All you need is an Academy subscription. So not only do you get full access to the bootcamp, you get full access to all the courses in the Academy as well. So we already have a ton of material in there from everything, complete beginner courses, more advanced courses on technique, improvisation, ear training, and theory. And you'll get personalized support from me as well. So please go check it out and join me for my Blues Rock Bootcamp that starts on July the 3rd. So next weekend, so jump on it. And here we go. Let's get into this track. So I'm in standard tuning here, and we've got a couple of basic chord progressions that he uses throughout this song. And then he's got about kind of 4 main solos, and they build kind of as he goes through the song. So what I'm gonna do here for this lesson is teach you the rhythms, teach you those 4 solos, kind of note for note, but I'm also gonna give you a rundown of how he improvises in this song, the scale patterns that he favors when he plays live. He usually just kind of improvises for a while. And then you also hear this stuff throughout the original recording. This is from the Top Priority album from 1979 is where you hear this song on. And but throughout the verses, you hear all these fills and stuff. So it's kind of like I'm going to be showing you the scale patterns that he's going to be using to create all that stuff instead of covering those fills, kind of all those little overdubs. But also how you can do your own improvisations with it. So we're going to cover all that. So let's start here with this intro, which starts with a couple of muted. It's just kind of some muted hits. 1, 1, 1, 2, 3, 1. And then it goes into the chord. So it's just kind of mute the strings. And then we get into the main progression that's used for all the verses and all the solos. We'll say this. All right, so the song is in D minor. So we're gonna start here with this D minor chord here. First fret on the high E, 3rd fret on the B, 2nd on the G, and then the open D. So some people like to play it like that, but it's probably easier to transition to the next chord if you play it with your pinky with that note on the 2nd string. So you're gonna strum that. And then we go to an F major chord. Now how Rory did it was he would just play it the thumb chord. So he played the low F with the 1st fret on the low E string with his thumb. So you can also just do it as a normal F bar chord if you don't like doing those thumb chords. So it's just the way he does it, or the way if you're more comfortable with the normal bar chord, that's fine too. It's the exact same notes. But regardless, so it's this F chord, which is 1st fret on the low E, 3rd fret on the A and the D, and then 2nd fret there on the G, and then barring the 1st fret across the B and the high E. So you see when I went to that F, I kind of hit that bass note a couple times, then I strummed across it. Then what we're going to do is we're going to go to a C major triad. And And there's a little bit of a move in there. So this C, like a standard C major chord. And he kind of starts picking across it. And then what he does is he lifts up the note on the D string to make it an open D. And he's going to pick that and then hammer on the second fret. So we have this. And then as soon as you do that hammer on, jump back to that D minor chord. So we have this. And then you're gonna have this. Open A string, hammer on third fret there on the A. Before we repeat everything. So we have this all together. All right, and then just repeat. Now, as he goes through the song, especially when he's doing the verse, a lot of times he'll kind of, especially when he's playing live, he doesn't do all those little that little hammer on in there. He just usually when I see him play live, he just kind of strums through these chords to C, and when he gets to the D, he comes down and hits that note at the third fret on the A, and then that's about it. So you can kind of do like a subdued version of the riff. Or you can play this straight through the whole song if you like. It's fine. All right, so now over that we have this first solo, which introduces the main theme of the tune and kind of this lower register. So it looks like this. All right, so we're gonna start here at the, now we're in, I'm gonna talk more about the scales in a second when we start getting to these verses coming up. I'm gonna talk about the actual patterns, but what we're in D minor pentatonic for the most part in this song. So this is D minor pentatonic, that full shape there. Is what this is built off. All right, so anyway, so let's start here with this. You're gonna play 7, pull off to 5, and then go back to 7 on the G. Then you're gonna jump over here to the B string, play 6, 8, and then into a bend at the 8th fret on the B string. So we have this. Got a quick hammer on there, into the bend, and then you do a quick little pick and release. It's kind of more of like a bend and release actually. So it's kind of a bend and release there to kind of give it a little bit of inflection. And then pull off to the 6th fret there on the B. So it's, and then come down here to the 5th fret. Play 5, 6, go back to 5, hammer on, and pull back off to 5. So you hammer on that 6. And then resolve it over there that at 7th fret there on the G string. So we have this all together for the melody. Let's repeat that. All right, so that's really the first solo there. He's just kind of stating that main melody. And then we go into the verse, which is, like I said, you can just do those same chords we did earlier. All right, so from there, he goes into the second solo. This second solo comes in at the 41-second mark. And I think he might have an octave pedal that he's using. He used this Boss octave pedal a lot. The Boss octave pedal will add an octave. You have, well, the one he used can have, I believe, 2 octaves, 2 different octave tones going on at once. 1 an octave beneath you or 2 octaves beneath you. So not above you. So when you hear him playing with an octave pedal and you hear a lower part, it's the pedal that's creating the lower part, and he's actually playing the higher part. So we have a little bit higher range for this next little solo at the 41-second mark. So you hear this octave thing going on, and he's playing the top part, I know. So where he's playing this, when I watch him play live, he's doing a lot of it around in this area, which might be okay for this solo, but when you hear him do the exact same range of solos later on, he's actually playing them up here. So we'll talk about that, but from now, we'll just learn it here in this little mid-range. So it looks like this, it's really short. So once again, you're gonna hear that octave pedal playing that lower. So we're gonna start here with a bend at the 13th fret there on the B string. Slow bend, and then what you're gonna do is you're gonna jump up to the 15th fret, pull off to 13, and then hammer back on 15. And here we actually start the melody, so it's just basically just an octave higher. So we have pulling off 15 to 13, and then back to 15. And then over to 13 on the high E, 15, into a bend at the 15th fret. And then once again, another bend and release, just like we did there, pulling off to the 13th fret. And then come back here to the 12th fret on the high E. So just like, it's just play 12, 13, and then 12, hammer 13, pull back off to 12. Over to 15 there on the B. So we had this all together. And then from here, we just start that again from this point of the 15th fret. All right, so then we get back to the verse again. So here in the second verse, you really hear a lot of like fills going on. So let me just talk a little bit about the scale patterns that he uses when he plays this, not on the original recording, but that he favors when he plays live, when he played live. So he did a lot of extended solos on this. It's a really fun. That D minor progression is a good vehicle for improvisation. So live, you'll see him just kind of take these extended improvised solos. So what is he doing? So he favors here, especially for this track right here. So he favors this shape. So if you're thinking of this as a major, it's like if you relate this back to his parent major key. This is the built off the third scale degree. Some people will see this as whatever, in a cage format or whatever, and what you call it is going to depend on whether you're viewing it as major or minor, right? So when we get into this pentatonic stuff, it can kind of confuse people a lot, like with major or minor pentatonic. But anyway, so this is D minor pentatonic basically in this area of the fretboard. So that's 8-5 on the high E, 8-6 on the B, and then 7-5 on the G and the D. And then if you want to finish the shape, which he doesn't do a lot of, he doesn't really play it all the way down to the low strings, but it's 8-5 on the A and the low E. But he's usually hanging out on those top 4 strings when he's playing this form. Now, we also have the octave of that, which is up here, which he'll be using in the, especially in the last solo. And it's the exact same thing, but just down here at the 17th fret, an octave higher. All right, so what he does to extend this quite a bit is when he gets here, he goes down to the shape in front of it, the pentatonic shape. So it fits under the fingers really well, so that's why he jumps back here. So we have, instead of doing, he just goes, he plays it like that. So after that 7-5 on the D, you can shift back to the 3rd fret, and then just play 5-3 on the A and the low E. And that's the root note right there. So. All right, so that's the one he plays the main melody with that. Now, what he'll also do when he plays live is he'll jump up here to the common minor pentatonic root pattern in D minor. So to play this in D minor, that means this is at the 10th fret. So you're playing that common pentatonic shape, that 10-13, and then 10-12 there on the A, D, and the G, and then 10-13 on the B and high E. So once again, with this pattern, he extends it a little bit. So we have, when he gets down here, so he plays it all the way down to here, he likes to then shift back to the pentatonic form before it, down to the 8th fret there on the A, and then play 10, 8, 10. So that's kind of fits under the fingers good. And then here, up top, to extend it, usually on the top, just the top 2 strings, he'll move up, like where we just learned that 2nd solo, shift up to the 15th fret, and then 13 on the high E and the B. So it's 13, 15 on the high E and the B. And then here, all the way down to the A string, and then shift back here. By the way, it's not just Rory Gallagher. A lot of blues rock guys and blues guys in general, they typically treat the scale patterns like that. They'll do extend up on the top 2 strings, and then the bottom 2 strings, just to keep the fingerings very consistent. So now what he's doing a lot in this solo is he's incorporating that E note, okay? So that's gonna be the 2nd in the key. So you can just think of that just at a standard, he'll do a couple other things too. So you can think of it, sometimes he'll add a note out of there's just a regular natural harmonic scale, but you'll see him use that E. All right, and then, so that's pretty much what he's doing. He's using, and then the octave. Just of what we, there. So that's what you're gonna see him use to improvise, those shapes of the D minor pentatonic. So you can create your own fills throughout the verses if you want, just using those shapes. And then when you want to take your own little solo, like extended solo, improvise over it like he does, just use those patterns and you can just literally have a lot of fun with it. All right, so now coming up to the 3rd legit solo that he does. This is at the 1 minute and 11-second mark. And once again, there's a lot of solo overdubs here. So you're hearing like multiple solos being played, but there's a main one that's being played. It's a lot higher in the mix. So that's what we're doing. So it looks like this. All right, so this is what he's doing here. He starts it with that same range that we did the melody down there, and then he takes it up, same shape, played up an octave. Now how you know it's playing up here and not like we did before is because he does some oblique bends where he's going to catch that high, the high E string in there. And then he's going to use that a lot in the last solo. So anyway, so we're going to start here though, kind of low in the mix, but you hear a little oblique bend. So he's playing the 8th fret on the B and the high E together. So you click those together and bend up just the note on the B string up a whole step. And release that, pull off to 6 on the B, over to the 7th fret on the G. So then the melody is kind of similar to what we did earlier. So we cover that, it's just like in the intro solo. So after you get there, everything's the same. Now we're gonna take it up an octave. And so instead of going, this is gonna be, so it's the same melody. So instead of just doing it twice here, the second time, jump up here. So exactly, you can just, if you don't know, you can just follow the fret markers. So where the 2nd and 3rd fret marker is going to be the 2nd and 3rd fret marker after the double dots. So we have this so far in the 3rd solo. Now from there, you can come back to this 19th fret there on the G, and just hit it a couple times real quick, and then just bend at the 20th fret, pick it and release, pull off to 18, and then when you bend again, now you're gonna add that 20th fret on the high E string. Just let them ring together. And then do it again. Just like this. All right, from there we have this. So that's that kind of the same melody before. Bend to the 20th fret on the B. Release. Pull off to 18. Slide down to 17. And then 18, 17 on the B, over to 19 on the G, so we have this. And then we're gonna end the solo, which is gonna be 17, 19 on the G, over here to the 18th fret on the B string with a slightly bend it up when you, and then play 19 on the G again. So all together for that. All right, now from here, we have the bridge. So this is a quick little progression. When you see him play the bridge live, it's not like he recorded it. He doesn't, especially with a G chord, he doesn't use the same chord. From what I've seen, there's a couple videos I can find online. So this is what's actually on the recording. So it just starts with just a C major chord, but played as a bar. By the way, sometimes when you see him play the verse live, sometimes I'll mix it up. Instead of here, doing doing that, he'll do this. He just played the C major, D minor up here instead of here. On the recording, it pretty much sounds like open chords, but listen live, he'll mix it up just to keep it interesting for himself. So you will see that. But we have here for the bridge, just you can play this like this. I know I like to use my pinky as a bar, and some people are afraid of that. But we have the 3rd fret on the A, and then the 5th fret across the D, G, and the B. So you just have that, however you want to play it. You gotta hit that 2, 3, 4, 5, and then what you're gonna do here, and this is what's on the recording, you have the 3rd fret on the low E. You're gonna mute the A string with the bottom of that finger right there, right? And then you're gonna have the open D, open G, and open B. So it's just basically an open G power chord. I'm sorry, an open G major chord. Just like that. That's the way it is. C, you just hit that G twice. See, I see him do this line. You do something like that, which is not on the recording. So then you go back to the C, and then you just take this shape and move it down 2 frets to the 1st fret there, the B flat major chord. And then at the end, back to the C. So that's all that progression is. This is a bridge. And then it goes back through the verse again, back through the same bridge that we just did, and back through the verse again. And then we get to the 4th solo, which is a little bit longer. This is kind of the dramatic outro solo. So I'm going to take this until where the kind of the fade out starts to happen. So this solo starts at the 2-minute and 40-second mark of the song. So let me play through it for you real quick, and then I'll show you how to play it note for note. And from there, it just kind of starts to fade out a little bit. So anyway, so we have this first phrase here. You can pretty much do this entire solo up here in just this octave position that we did before. So that we first played down here. So we're going to start here with just this first phrase. All right, so that's kind of like the double stops that we did here, but just that same lick, but an octave higher. So up here, the 20th fret on the B and the high E, you pick those together, and you're gonna be bending the note on the B string up, and then release, pull off that note to the 18th fret, over to 19 on the G. Hold that a little bit. Then you're gonna play 18, 20 on the B string. Bend it up there, that 20, and then as you're at the top, pick it and just release. And pull off to the 18, so this. And then we're gonna go into a bend at the 20th fret on the high E. Now, when he's gonna pick this a couple times, and you hear some noise in there. So what he's doing there, he's catching the B string underneath the finger. So you can kind of incorporate that. It kind of gives it kind of a more dissonant sound. And then we have this little descending. So that's going to start here at the 17th fret on the high E string, over to 20 on the B, and then do those same two notes again. So then 18, 17, 18 on the B, and then back down to 17. So it's 18, 17 twice. Over to 19 there on the G, so it is. And then 17, 19 on the G. So that kind of really ends that phrase. And then we have the next phrase. So that comes back here to the 18th fret on the B string. Hammer on 20. Do a couple of bends. Release. And then kind of pull off to 16 and then hammer back on to 18. So it. And then from here, you're going to do a quick pull off from 20 to 18, slide down to 17. And then we're going to climb back up. And when you climb back up, it's going to be 18, 20 on the B, then 17 on the high E, then 20, then back to 17, and then back to 20, and then bend that 20 up the second time. So wait, this. Now, when you get here, you're going to really kind of do some kind of bend and release. Kind of really milk that note. So you're just kind of playing it, bending that up to the D, just the D note and releasing. All right, and then we kind of go back to the main theme again, just an octave up from where we played it. So it's just kind of done twice, just like that we did to open up the track, the first solo, that we did it twice here. We'll just do it here, twice there. And then we're gonna, it's just kind of now, you're gonna go straight into a bend at the 20th fret. So after doing this melody twice, just go straight to a bend at the 20th fret. And then you're gonna grab the 20 on the high E with it. So, release, pull off to 18, and then back to the 20th fret bend. So, and then it's kind of that same ending, kind of doing that pull off from 20 to 18, slide down to 17, and then play 18, 17, over to 19 on the G. So we had this. And then the last phrase here, we're gonna go, kind of last phrase I played in the beginning. So just kind of quick little pickup note here, 18th fret there on the B string, and then the bend at the 20th fret. Once again, getting that note on the 20th fret on the high E with it, so that little oblique. And release that bend and pull off to 18, and jump up to the 20th fret on the high E string into a bend there. So, and then that last little lick there before it starts fading out is going to 17th fret on the high E string. And then It's a bend at the 20th fret on the B string, and then you're going to kill it when it gets to the top of the bend. It kind of makes these notes a little staccato, so you're going to kind of cut them off as soon as you pick them. So wait, this. So I bent that up and then killed it, and then play 20, 18, once again releasing the note after every single one. And then go 17, 18, 17, over to 19 on the G. All right, so I hope you guys enjoyed this kind of really in-depth breakdown of Bad Penny. Fun player to emulate. It's got some just great blues licks. So I hope that information in the middle of the video, where I'm kind of really showing you the patterns that he's using to create his improvisations, will allow you to kind of do your own thing. You can just kind of get the backing track for this and just loop that D minor progression and just improvise for days on it. And like I said, he just uses pretty much minor pentatonic, except adding that second, the E in there. And then it kind of extends the scale on the lower or the upper part of it, just a couple of strings just to make it more playable. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. I'll see you again soon for guitarlessons365.com.